Hay fever affects millions of people every year, but is it really about pollen? In this episode, we break down what hay fever or allergic rhinitis actually is, what's happening inside the body during a reaction, and why some people suffer badly while others don't react at all. Most advice focuses on managing symptoms with antihistamines and avoiding triggers, but that's only part of the story. We explore what hay fever is and how it works, why the immune system overreacts, why symptoms vary from person to person, the role of inflammation and stress, how the nervous system may influence immune responses, a different way to think about recurring seasonal allergies. This episode is about understanding your body, not just managing symptoms. And if you or someone you know struggles with hay fever every year, this conversation can change how you see it. Watch now and share it with someone who needs it.
Hi everyone, it's Cameron, and today I'm here with Dr. Chris Cormier. Today we're going to be talking about hay fever. Hello, Dr. Cormier.
Hi, Cameron.
So, what actually is hay fever, and what's happening in the body during a reaction?
So the medical definition of like hay fever, you're outside doing whatever you're doing, maybe inside, and then all of a sudden you start to get stuffy. And so that could be a hay fever thing where you're having some sort of reaction to something that's in the air. It could be an airborne allergen, it could be mold, it could be pollen. There's so many things that are in the air that we pretty much don't even know what's in the air anymore. But it's some type of reaction that your body's having to whatever's in the air.
Why do you think that the immune system responds so strongly to something like pollen?
So again, why can 10 people be totally fine and have nothing to the same air, and then one person have a major reaction? We think of the body completely different than everybody else, right? So in my opinion, and in my medical opinion, I mean, I've been doing this for decades. What's perfectly easy to understand, it's like kryptonite for Superman. Okay, so one minute you're fine, and the next minute something's dragging you down. So something's making you weak. So certain things out in the environment, wherever you are, whether it's indoors or outdoors, you could be around something your whole life and be strong to it. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason or another, your nervous system, your body says, I don't like whatever that is. And so we see this all the time. But you really want to think of it as stress and reaction. That's all I always teach people. The body is about stress and reaction. So just regarding the nervous system, let's talk about your brain and your spinal cord. Well, this thing right here is wired to all your trillions of cells. That's crazy to think about. So just think there might be 5 billion cells right here. And every single one of these little tiny cells is wired to the brain, which is crazy to think about. So all it takes is some of those cells to get a little disconnected where they're not powered up as much and they're weak. And then all of a sudden you breathe something in, and then the body's it's like a hole in airport security that's there, and it can cause problems.
Why do you think that symptoms often vary depending on the time of the year?
Again, the air is so ever changing.
Yes.
And nature a lot of times gets really confused. I mean, there's all these chemicals and pollutants and toxins and additives, preservatives. I mean, so much that we have to contend with, and we just kind of take it for granted until something goes wrong.
Great.
Right? You're breathing fine, everything's good, and all of a sudden when you're not breathing fine, and then you think, hey, I'm having these attacks, and then you can think, oh, it's some allergies. Well, in my opinion, the allergies more of the actual response the body gets. When something's weak in your body, then it gets inflamed and aggravated. But there's something that's making your brain lost connection to those cells. Those cells were weak, and then when that potential allergen comes in, then it makes it get inflamed. So from our perspective, we deal with conditions like this completely different, in a completely different route that most people probably have never heard of.
Another thing that people do is they mostly rely on antihistamines. What do they actually do, though?
Again, from our perspective, those are trying to dry something out in the body, but we're not about that. It's almost like you're covering a symptom by doing those types of things. We're trying to correct the ultimate, the deep-rooted weakness that started the whole process. And so a lot of people may want to know, how do we do that? Well, people come to see us at the Nerve Health Institute, for instance, and we have these methods where we get into your nervous system and check the power supply to all your parts, which is it's crazy. It needs to be done manually, right? Because there's no scan that'll show you. Like you could do an MRI, but it's going to show you the nerve. It won't show you the energy flow to every single one of those tiny little nerves. You can imagine, because trillions of cells are wired to the brain, they go all the way to microscopic. They'll start as a big nerve and go all the way to microscopic. And so we have ways of figuring out which nerves are disconnected and then reconnecting the power to those nerves. And oftentimes we have patients, that have all these weaknesses or allergies to various things. And when we strengthen the nervous system up, those get better, where they don't have those reactions anymore.
So you talked a lot about the Nerve Health Institute and what you guys do there, but you also have an at-home program called Body Chargers. Do you care to share how how Body Chargers can help support someone dealing with allergies at home?
Sure. Yeah. We obviously at the Nerve Health Institute, I've been at this for so many years. I always want to go with my patients, and I want to leave with them 24/7.
Yeah.
And you can imagine, like, the air they're breathing in the clinic is totally different. We have all these things to help with our air in the clinic, but then they get outside and they have different things in the air. They go to their house, they have different stuff, the office, wherever. So we want to make sure that we're doing the best we can for those patients at home, because I can't go with everybody. And so for many, many years in my family and our staff and patients, I've literally rabbit holed about every possible thing you could for this particular condition, because my kids growing up, same thing, me too. Like, all of a sudden you're fine, and all of a sudden you get stuffy. Like, what the heck is going on, right? So we figured out how to help with all these different maladies or remedies and devices for home. And literally we have devices that you can stick in your pocket, and it'll help to reset the frequency of certain cells in your nose, right, or in your mouth. And all you do is just put it in your pocket, set it on a setting, and it makes you feel better. So many times I've run those settings, and one of my family members, me included, can have, and I'll give you an example. My son started to feel like he was all stuffy this weekend. Right away, we put it on a setting, and it was done. Like, it completely went away. Otherwise, he'd have probably been, maybe it'd have turned from that into a full-fledged sickness. That would have been bad. And so we have all these devices. We also have techniques that people can do. I literally have this technique where I teach people to use a particular toothbrush in a certain spot, and it reconnects the brain to those cells, and people instantaneously feel better. We had a patient this week, several patients this week do that, where they came in stuffy. We taught them this technique, and it went away. So there's so many things you can do that you just don't know about, and that's what we're here to uncover for you, so that you don't have to spend, so much time wasting your time online listening to other people that maybe they don't know these things.
Yeah. And lastly, if someone is struggling with hay fever every single year, what is the first thing that they should start looking at differently?
So start thinking outside of the box. When it comes to health, if you just focus on the over-the-counter remedies that are out there, and you just keep staying with, you're going to stay on those for the rest of your life. And potentially one thing that you got sensitive to, if you don't fix or strengthen your nervous system to whatever that is, then anything that's molecularly similar to whatever that is, you'll get next thing you know, you're sensitive to 500 things. So you got to definitely pay attention to this particular condition. If you're out there, at least start something with Body Chargers. We have so many different things with Body Chargers that can help you with home, even just the educational process of helping your air. It could be your indoor air that you got to deal with. We have all kinds of natural ways to help that with our Order Air product through Body Chargers. And there's so much more that you can do at home. If you've got more complicated cases, definitely come see us at the Nerve Health Institute.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Cormier. That does conclude our talk for today.
If this podcast spoke to you, or if you feel like you have family members or friends that have these types of conditions that could benefit from this particular technology, then all you need to do is become a Body Chargers member, or tell them about Body Chargers. Remember, it's our community that I created to help people at home with the best technologies in the world to be able to help you to self-heal your body at home and maximize your self-healing. So go to Body Chargers, become a member. That's the easiest way to get this done. And we look forward to serving you and your family. Also, if you want a higher level of care, we have the Nerve Health Institute you can always come to. That's our clinic where we have higher level services here to be able to help you. So I hope you enjoy, and we look forward to serving you and your family, and look forward to our next podcast.